fast on this side. I think I'm Big Meech.
What up, what up? Welcome back to the channel. I'm J and we are locked in. This is the recap for episode 7 of BMF, Get 'em Home. Now, Meech has finally arrived into St. Louis and he has to open up shop, and things never go as a plan when it comes to the BMF world. And of course, as soon as he gets in St. Louis, all hell breaks loose. Now, Terry, on the other hand, he has to worry about Markeisha, and she's trying to set a few plays up of her own. Now, before we jump into this and we break down this episode, if you like BMF content, breakdowns, recaps, live after show discussions, then hit your subscribe button and turn on your notification bell so you get something every time I upload. Make sure you hit that like button, and I'm on that road to 50,000 subscribers, so I appreciate each and every one of you. And again, if you don't see this at 100 likes, hit that like button. But let's go ahead and jump into it. This is the recap for BMF, episode 7, season 3, Get 'em Home. We start the episode off with our new characters, J-Pusha and Carter. We met them, but we also see Kia. Now, they're out here playing baseball, and Carter is J-Pusha's little brother. He's supposed to be going to the MLB. But as of right now, Meech is just running around the city with J-Pusha, and he's like, listen, you guys had a foundation for me to bring in the purest work that y'all have ever seen, and we could take over St. Louis and all of the projects. While this is going on, Carter and J-Pusha, they have a little friendly back and forth because that's what competition is all about. And J-Pusha, being the older brother, tells his little brother Carter, since you're the rookie, go to the car and get us some water. Well, when Carter goes over there to get the water, he doesn't come back. And everyone is still thirsty because Carter ends up getting kidnapped. And we have to figure out who just took Carter on Meech's introduction to St. Louis. Back in Detroit with Terry and the other half of BMF, they're trying to plot out their next move. And the reason they're doing this is because they're in a war with Henry. And at the end of last week's episode, Henry had a flamethrower and caught Diz on fire. R.I.P. to that brother. Now, Terry is saying, I'll take care of all of his funeral expenses. The other part of the crew is saying, nah, Terry, we need to make moves. F what Henry did. We can't go out like this. And Terry's like, nah, because we know bodies draw too much attention. So he doesn't want to go at a full-out war with Henry. He wants to sit down with her father, Blaze, and see if they can resolve this situation where everybody wins. Because if Henry gets on Page, they can take over the whole city and everybody eats. J-Pusha, Meech, Kia, the rest of his crew, they're running around the city like a chicken in the head cut off, trying to figure out who kidnapped his brother Carter. Well, Meech is trying to keep him calm, like, hey, bro, chill. We don't even know if the people you think did it. They end up getting a phone call from a guy named Booker. And he's saying, hey, we got your brother. You sold us some fake work. It was terrible. We need to resolve this or we're going to take Carter out. Now, J-Pusha, just like any human, hearing this on the phone, he's like, nah, we coming after you. We about to make this happen. They hang up the phone and they tell him before they hang up, hey, we'll get rid of him if you keep BSing. Now, J-Pusha is talking to Meech, and Meech says, hey, bro, calm down. And even Kia agrees. We need to make a plan before we try to execute something we are unaware of. The Flenory household really hasn't been right since season 1, but Charles is doing his damnedest to try to make it work. Well, one morning, there's a knock at the door. When Charles opens it up, he sees a bouquet of flowers. He looks at it. It says it's labeled to Lucille. Well, Charles, being the man of the house, he opens up this letter and he looks in there and it says, I hope you enjoyed the meal. Can't wait to see you later on. Lucille comes downstairs and she sees the flowers thinking that Charles sent them. Well, it turns out they were sent by Dr. Reese, and Charles is saying, why are you messing with him? I won. You're mine. But Lucille, she's at her breaking point, and she tells him straight up, listen, I decide who I'm going to be with. So this is basically telling Charles, I'm going on a date tomorrow. Don't wait up. The meeting with Blaze is put in place. Blaze shows up, and he has a gift to give to Terry, basically saying, this is for you, you know what I'm saying? Your girl Wanda, I heard you got a newborn. But he sits down, and he's trying to talk business. Now, Terry, this is what he wanted, but he's saying, I thought we had us a little peace treaty, a little peace offering. And Blaze says we do. But the reason Terry is hesitant on going forward with this is because Henry is out here acting a fool, catching people on fire. I thought you were supposed to have her under control or remove her from the whole situation. Now, Blaze is the father of Henry. And you know how parents are. He's not going to give her up that easily. So Terry says, as long as she's around and you don't have any control of her, then we can't do any business. And he hands the gift back to Blaze and says, well, this is it. Meech, J-Pusha, they going crazy. They're contacting everyone they can. And Meech is sitting there like, all right, we still got to stay calm because he just left a war down in Atlanta and he was on the run for a body. Well, while they're up here, there's a knock at the door. Two of the associates show up. They don't know where Carter is, but they do have a box. And when they open up this box, it's a finger in it. And it says, don't F with us. Last chance. And it's a finger of Carter. And remember, Carter was supposed to be playing baseball. It's going to be tough playing without a finger. Meech being a man with a plan, the first thing he does is go and call Terry. Hey, Terry, I need some concert tickets down here in St. Louis. Concert tickets mean bricks. And Terry's like, damn, really? I thought you were just in Atlanta. You already set up in St. Louis? He's like, well, not necessarily correct, but me and J-Pusha, his brother Carter, is in trouble. And you know, I would do this if it was for you. So Terry's like, man, we can't be giving other people our concert tickets when we're trying to set up our own shows. Meech, and you didn't even ask, how is she doing? But Terry's like, all right, don't worry. I'll send the concert tickets down there. But Meech, it can't always be about you. You got to start thinking about others. Detective Jen has been going through it, and the only person left in her corner at this moment is her father. She was with Bryant. That went sour. She had Amberson. That went sour, R.I.P. And then she gets fired from her job, well, suspended. So she comes home, and the only person she has is her dad. And he's like, listen, you're going to be all right. You just have to stick it out. And she's like, you know what? You're right, Dad. I love you. And this is some tough times. I'm nothing like my sister Michelle, but I'm trying. And it just keeps getting worse for me. But her dad, like a father would, he's always going to be on her side. And he's letting her know, hey, don't give up. You'll figure something out. Terry been having a lot of back and forth with him and Wanda, trying to figure out, okay, listen, I'm going to be a good father. I'm going to be here for you. I'm trying to make it work in these streets, but you got to give me a chance. When he shows up to Wanda's mama house, Wanda is upset. Now, the mama, she's cool. She really ain't tripping because Terry brings gifts. He pays the rent, he pays the bills, and he just bought her a new minivan for the family. But Wanda doesn't want to hear that. She's like, Terry, if you want to be a good father, then stay here, raise the kid instead of going to hang out with Marquisha. Now, Lucille is over here also, and Lucille is saying, well, let's not act like he isn't a good father. Well, Wanda storms off, and then Lucille and Terry have a heart-to-heart, but in reality, they're just alike. Lucille tried to say Terry is like Charles, but he calls her out and says, you're still seeing Dr. Reese, so maybe we're just alike, Mom. At the trap house, Carter is taped up, and the kidnappers, they're trying to get this money. But J-Pusha, he ain't playing around, and he got people in the streets. Now, the reason they kidnapped Carter is because, one, they said the dope was stepped on and it wasn't correct, and they owe somebody else in St. Louis some money. Well, J-Pusha then sent people over here, and they get to shooting. We got an all-out shootout. Pow, pow, pow. One of the kidnappers hits the dude in the arm with a machete, and then the other one gets shot down with a shotgun, and Carter is in here looking around trying to dodge bullets because he can't move. They got him taped up to the chair. Next day at school, little Nikki and our boy Breeze, they pulling up, and they got to go through a metal detector. Well, when they go through, the metal detector goes off when Nikki walks through. They're like, all right, check your bag. Let's see what's in there. Well, Nikki goes through the bag, and she looks, and she realizes that she has a box cutter, so she tries to lie and tell the security guard, well, I need to go back to the house. I forgot my book. Well, when he looks in the bag, he sees a box cutter. Now, we got to give Breeze some credit because he said, nah, that's mine. Coach gave us some jerseys. We're just going to cut them up. You know what I'm saying? Get them out the packaging. Well, the security guard ain't no dummy, and he looks at the box cutter, and it says C. Flenory, Charles Flenory on it. And well, little Nikki, she gets arrested. The concert tickets are on the way, courtesy of Terry. From Detroit to St. Louis is about an 8-hour drive. Well, you guys remember our Army vet. He's driving to work down there, but out of nowhere, his GMC truck starts acting up. It looks like the tire blows out. The power steering is empty, and he starts swerving all across the street. He ends up wrecking the truck, and you hear somebody say, hey, this truck is full of cocaine. Well, there goes those tickets. the tickets that Meech and J-Pusha needed to try to get Carter back. At Terry's condo, Markeisha has moved in there from the house and she got keys to both places. Well, she's on the phone trying to get a hairstylist number because she did a good job. Well, when she goes in the drawer, she sees the new van that Terry has bought Wanda, and she sees the address. Well, when Terry comes in, he's already stressed out because he's trying to send 1,000 bricks, or should I say concert tickets, down to St. Louis. And guess what? He just gets a phone call that the driver has wrecked and those bricks are gone. Markeisha is playing a devilish game behind the scenes also. St. Louis is going crazy right now. J-Pusha got people all in the streets. $200,000 to bring Carter back alive, $100,000 on people's head. And he's like, man, listen, going to the league wasn't just a dream for Carter. It was mine also, but I wasn't that talented. And I got to do everything I can in my power to get my brother back. Well, they just get word that the spot where they were holding Carter, they know where it's at. So now they're all about to head over there and try to see if Carter is still there or get any information leading to where Carter could potentially be now. Nikki ends up going to jail because she had the box cutter. Now, Charles and Lucille have to show up and come and get her out because she's a minor. But when they get there, they're asking her, why would you do that? And what she says is some real stuff. She's going to school with the box cutter for protection. She's seen little Darius pass away in front of her, and her parents never seen death. So she's asking them, have y'all seen this? And they get kind of silent because at first they were scolding her. But you got to understand, she has 2 dope dealing brothers, the biggest dope dealers we've seen so far. She just wanted a little bit of protection. That's all. It's not like she came to school starting any trouble. She just wanted to defend herself if anything was to happen, like a Lamar situation. Once they arrive there, they notice ain't no one here but a dead body. Now, this body is part of J-Pusha's crew. He got hit with that shotgun and they just left him in there. So he's like, man, damn. So he needs to go get more information and hit the block. Now, Meech, on the other hand, he's looking around and observing everything, and he sees some Chinese food boxes and he sees the location. Now, J-Pusha, he gets out of here, and Meech says, listen, Kia, you and old boy, listen to me. I got a plan, but don't tell J-Pusha because he'll mess it up. We're going to go get these guys. And Meech, he's always thinking 2-3 steps ahead so they can stay ahead of everyone else, and they can always watch out for themselves. Remember Markeisha seen that Terry bought Wanda a new vehicle? Well, she got the address and showed up to the house. Now, Wanda's mom, she's looking at her like, I know who you are. And when she comes in the house, she's trying to give a peace offering to Wanda saying, listen, we can both share Terry. He'll be with me. We'll make sure your kids are straight. Wanda's not trying to hear none of that. So what does she do? Go in the closet, pulls out one of the Meeks and say, you're not the only one out here balling. And just you remember this. I'm carrying Terry's bloodline. So you'll just always be another mistress to Terry. And take this Meek back. Now, the mom is like, hey, whoa, Wanda, don't give up these gifts because we know the mom doesn't care about anything but surviving. But Markeisha gets told off and she has to leave. Sterling ends up showing up to meet with Meech because they got to get some new bricks, some new tickets, or some new pants. Well, when they get here, they start talking, but out of nowhere, we see the police start to raid the whole projects. I'm talking about arresting people, falling down the stairs. Meech, him and Sterling, they grab the bricks and hop in Meech's car. And of course, he has another plan. He's like, whoa. How are we going to get through this? Because there's checkpoints at this raid. Now, what Meech does, he tells Sterling, pick up the map, act like we're lost. And when he tells the police officer, yeah, we just got traded here. We're trying to get to the practice facilities. We don't know where we're at. He's kind of stuttering, trying to make it seem like we're lost. Well, the police officer, he's a fan of the Cardinals, and he tells Meech, you can go through this. You're going to make a right. You're going to go left 100 meters, and you should be right there. Go Cardinals. So Meech gets them out this jam. We get introduced to a new character by the name of Vince. Markeisha is leaving Wanda's house, and she gets pulled over. And we're like, oh, man. Hopefully she ain't got no work in the car. Well, it turns out this guy, Vince, thought he recognized Markeisha because he used to do security for Boom. Now, he's really interested in her, and he's talking to her, and he's like, listen. You had a couple of traffic violations, but I got to give you this ticket, and it's good to see you. But when she looks at the ticket, it ain't your normal ticket. Marquisha just got Vince's number, and we need to see where this is going because we do need law enforcement on our side, and we could potentially use them. Lucille and Dr. Reese, they finally link up. Remember, he sent the roses over there and said, I can't wait to see you tomorrow. Well, Lucille, she got dressed and they met up and they in the car and it's getting sweaty in here. I'm talking fogging up the windows, feeling just like they was in high school. But now we see why it made so much sense when Lucille was talking to Nikki last week about not being stuck or going down the same path as her. Because Lucille says she was just a teenager when she got pregnant and married. So now she wants to relive all of that because she didn't really get a chance to experience, her teenage years, her 20s, her 30s. So now, right now, this is just taking her away. Even little Nikki is out on bail and Breeze comes over and he wants to let her know he likes her a lot. She likes him. And he's letting her know straight up, I'm always going to be there to protect you no matter what. And Lucille, she don't know, but Breeze is over here and him and Nikki, they are kissing. So good thing she did give little Nikki that birth control because this could get very, very ugly quickly. Marquisha is moving a certain kind of way. Now she's trying to link up and let Terry meet Vince. But when she sees Vince, they get to talking. Terry shows up and we have us a little showdown. Terry's like, hey, you can get on out of here. Vince, he's a police officer, so he thinks he has a little bit of power and he knew Marquisha first. But Marquisha's trying to keep the peace because I see what she's doing. She's trying to, hey, Terry, we could use him. He patrols this side of the city. We could probably use a police officer on our side. But Terry tells him to get on and get out of here. And Marquisha says, Terry, I love when you get jealous. And we know where that leads, to putting my hands in places I've never seen. Girl, you know what I mean. Detective Jen is doing her own undercover work. She's trying to figure out who Henry is, how can she get even for Emberson, and definitely get Detective Bryant off of her back. Well, one of the people that she's been talking to, one of the CIs, he brings her to the gambling spot with Henry. And she has a wig on, and Henry says, get out of here. Now, these two, they kicking it off, and she finally meets who Henry actually is. And Henry, we know that Henry is a ladies' woman, and she pulls all the women. So she's like, how can we make this last a little bit longer? And can I get a name from you? So it looks like Detective Jen's undercover work is working out. If you remember back in the trap house, Meech said he had a plan and don't tell J-Pusha. Well, the kidnappers, he's seen the Chinese restaurants that they go to, and they went up there and they were waiting outside. Now, when they catch this guy coming out, Meech lets him know, you messed up. Now, I can get you out the city. You just have to bring Carter to us tonight. Well, the guy's acting tough. Until they throw him on a car, and Sterling puts a knife in his hand to get even for cutting off Carter's finger. And then our girl Slugger, a.k.a. Kia, she takes a bat and she starts hitting him in his ribs, hitting him in his knees. This is going to make you think a little bit differently about being a tough guy and give up that information on where Carter is. Jen meets up with Brian and lets him know how successful the undercover work went. And he's like, damn, you really did that? She's like, yep, you know it. And it felt natural. It felt real, like I was supposed to be there. And Henry wants to meet again. So for Detective Bryant, he's like, well, let me know next time. And it looks like this alliance is about to reform. One guy fired, a woman suspended. You bring them together, you might actually have you a part-time job between the two of these. But Jen is trying to make this arrest and bring Henry down so she can get back on the force and make something of herself and revenge Amberson's death. Carter ends up showing up the next morning because Meech put that work in. Now, when Carter gets here, everyone is happy. J-Push and Carter's mom, she's like, oh, thank you, Meech. God bless you. And Meech was like, nah, we all did it. It wasn't just me. But now Meech has to tell J-Pusha, listen, we need to calm down. We got those new bricks in. We got the best work. We need to take this money, get Carter as far away from St. Louis as possible so we don't have to worry about him getting touched no more. And we need to start getting this money. And bodies are bad for business. So that hit, $100,000 on the kidnappers, you got to remove that in order for us to move forward. Meech knows how the game plays out. So J-Push is like, well, you helped So I understand and I respect that, Meech. Plus, Meech is the boss, so we good now. Meech goes over to Kia's house and he's hanging out with her before he gets out of here. Y'all know what hanging out mean. And he looks over and notices that she's book smart, not only street smart. And we know she also plays softball. Her mom was in the Hall of Fame and her dad was a street dude. So she gets the best of both worlds. But she's asking Meech, how long are you going to be gone? And Meech say, oh, for a little bit. But I'm definitely going to be back and forth because he did ask J-Pusha to find him a house. So Kia, she's going to be holding down St. Louis while, we don't know what Angel is up to, but she's in the A, allegedly with Glock. Terry convinced all of Henry's clientele to switch over to him, even though it's going to be risky. So at the end of the episode, we see him talking to Hoop, and he's like, all right, next stop, we take out Henry. If we can get rid of Henry, we will run Detroit. And that's the ultimate plan. Now, we know Henry ain't playing fair. We don't know what Blaze is up to. But Terry, he's just like Meech, the younger brother. He takes different routes. But the end goal is to be BMF, larger than life. The world is yours. And the last thing we see is Meech down in Atlanta. He's pulling up. He's buying bottles for everybody. He does find out that Techwood ain't what Techwood used to be. And also Glock is running the city. So he's like, well, now that I'm back, we got St. Louis up and running. We're going to come back down here and take over. Now, Angel, she's with Glock. And like I said, he's running the city. So you got to move accordingly because you don't want no problems unless you can solve those problems on your own. All right, there you go. The recap for episode 7, Get 'em Home, BMF season 3. Let me know what you think about it. Is Meech better off at the moment in St. Louis, where him and J-Push got some motion, or down in Atlanta, where we know that he has to basically start from the bottom because Glock is in charge? Let me know what you think. I'm Mo.J. If you like this kind of content, BMF content, or I said something to make you think, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're on that road to 50,000 subscribers. I appreciate each and every one of you. And if you don't see this at 100 likes, hit that like button. Thanks for watching. I'm out.